a couple of Harlingen Southhawks, head coach of the boys basketball team, Brian Molina, and Anjel Gonzales, who played on the 2014 team, had a good career there. And I think you're still with the school district now, if I'm correct.
Yeah, do a little transition phase right now.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, guys, the reason why we're here, first and foremost, is we're in the finals of the Rio Sports Live 2020 Boys Bracket Challenge, and it's the 2014 team against the 15-16 Edinburgh Vela team, I believe. So you guys just came through the Final Four, beat the 16-17 Santa Rosa team, and Vela also beat another Santa Rosa team. I believe it was a 17-18 team also. So first of all, let's just start with asking how you guys are doing. I like to do that. I know it's trying times for everybody, but before we get into that, I'd just like to know how you guys are doing, how you guys been coping and everything.
Yeah, I'm coping well. I mean, everything's going good. I'm blessed that my family's doing well. I'm doing well. Been kind of heading up to school every other day. We just got a brand new gym floor, so just kind of checking in on that and just kind of trying to and now that the NBA's on, that's great. I mean, so there's a little bit of MLB, and I watched the PGA Tour yesterday. So I mean, that's keeping me entertained for right now. But right now we're just in that phase. It's a different phase for all coaches. Right now we're scheduling and trying to come up with Zoom meetings with our current teams and trying to find ways to keep our kids active and we're trying to stay positive. Hopefully we get a season this year and just move forward from there.
What about you, Anjel? How's it going for you?
Yeah, same. Blessed to say that my family too has also been healthy. I've just been trying to stay busy myself. I was working at Harlingen Basketball Academy with Gilbert Bessa from Harlingen High for a month and a half or 2 months, training basketball there, and then just trying to pick up some shifts over here at HEB. So just trying to stay busy, during this time.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, you guys being in the athletic backgrounds and everything, it's kind of strange how what we're going to head into fall, like uncharted territories for everybody, and just your thoughts on that, updated calendars, stuff like that, the scheduling. I know you talked about it, Coach. I mean, and you, Anjel, we've never seen something like this. So I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say like shocking, but it's something you're not used to and something you really have to adapt to on the fly. I mean, just how are you taking it? How are you attacking it? It's in professional lives.
I'm trying to stay active as much as possible. I get up and run in the morning, try to stay in a routine, and then, just try to keep talking to coaches. One thing that I have noticed with this era, it's a funny thing actually, in the fact that I communicate a lot more with a bunch of basketball coaches via Zoom, bouncing ideas, just in case we do have a season, stuff that we want to do with our teams. Once UIL took away our tournaments this upcoming year, we had to schedule more games. So it's funny, like for about 2 days straight, we were doing nothing but talking to a bunch of different coaches. So, that's pretty much the way we're attacking this thing and attacking it day by day. Obviously, UIL keeps coming up with new reports here on almost weekly. Volleyball started already, so hopefully that'll transition over to us come October, I guess 5th or 6th, somewhere around there. We can start doing our stuff day by day and start meeting with these kids.
Yeah. And I can't say enough about how I know HCISD and a lot of doing their homework and their due diligence when it comes to this. I know I spoke to Coach Davies a couple months ago, when all this was starting to set in motion, and just doing your work, making sure that everybody's staying safe. And I can't commend Harlingen enough for that. So kudos to you guys for doing what you do. But let's move on here to a little bit of a brighter note. We'll talk about the bracket challenge. This came out. We had a bunch of teams from different years, and people got to go cast their votes. And different kind of bracket, not testing who do we think would win in a fantasy kind of matchup. This is basically more for the fan bases. And you guys came out in droves and got you all here to the finals. Just first of all, a question for each of you guys. Just what was your thoughts when you saw this bracket come out? Saw Harlingen there. Obviously, Harlingen South, everybody remembers that team as the trip all the way to the regional tournament. There in Edinburgh, everybody kind of remembers that year. It was a really good year for you guys. I certainly remember it. Just first, what was your thoughts overall on this bracket?
Angel, you want to go?
Yeah, no. When I first saw the bracket, I think I was tagged in it. Some of my friends already tagging me, telling me, "Hey, this is your year, wasn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's our year." So just seeing the bracket go through, seeing how it progressed, and seeing the teams make the cuts, it was. I felt grateful. I felt kind of shocked, not shocked, but I was surprised to see that a lot of people were voting for us, and you know. I know there was a lot of fans out there at that Sweet 16 tournament, so I know that the word spreads, and people saw that game. YouTube as well. It was on YouTube as well, so I know there's probably a lot of eyes that saw that game. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, same thing with me. My first impression was, I was humbled and honored. I mean, obviously we have a great team, but I saw just looking at some of those teams that were on that list. I mean, it's one of those things, dream matchups. I mean, if we could just really play those matchups, those would be some really great games, really great teams, really great players, great coaches. So, I consider ourselves blessed. And like Angel said, I mean, I think we won a lot of fans having the regional tournament in our backyard. Of course, by halftime, they weren't letting anybody else in there at UTRGV now. And so, I mean, those are just great memories. I'm glad that and very happy that we made it all the way to the finals. Obviously, we went up against some pretty good teams, but it's a fun challenge, and I was just happy that we made the cut.
Yeah, for sure. And just going through the rounds, you guys came out, and it was like the 09-10 San Isidro team. They also had a regional tournament berth. And whenever I look at these kinds of brackets, you always look at the smaller schools. I always look at the smaller schools to advance because I feel they have more fans with whether it be chip on their shoulders or they want to come out and be like, let's get them through past like a bigger school. So it was really impressive to see a lot of the smaller schools come out and vote and stuff. But even more impressive for you guys to get by like teams like a San Isidro. And I know there was a lot of proud people for that Porter team in the second round. They came out and voted. So I mean, just to be here, I feel like there's a lot of fans that actually remember you guys, maybe not only from Harlingen, but, going all across the valley and maybe people who were at that game. So also coming out, like we said, the 15-16 Vela team, that was also a really good team. I think they're other than Santa Rosa, they're the only other team to make the state tournament. They did it in 6A as well. So, I mean, just your thoughts on that Vela team.
That Vela team, that was a great team. Like I followed their playoff run, got to watch them in the state tournament. Obviously, Lalo's one of my best friends. Coach Rio's one of my best friends. So we talk about it a lot. Angel, that team that Angel and them played against a couple of those kids, I guess when they were freshmen or younger sophomores or whatever, when we were going on our playoff run. So we knew their senior year they were going to do something special. And I'm glad they did. They advanced. Obviously, Santa Rosa, led the way, in their classification, and then, Vela to make a run, I guess when they were 5A or whatever, and make a run to that Sweet 16, and not only make a run to the Final Four. Excuse me. Not only make it to the Final Four to the state tournament, but to actually compete. I was at that game, watched them play, and they represented the Valley well. So to be able to go up against them, my regional tournament team and their state tournament team, is speaks volumes about those two teams that are still alive and still going up against each other, because I think that's two great teams that we have left.
Yeah, for sure. Angel, like I said, this was 2 years, I think 2 seasons after you graduated, I believe. So yeah, of course you might have run into a couple of them. Just what was your impression on some of those kids that were younger on that Vela team that you remember?
Yeah, like Coach Mo said, we were able to face off against them. I believe it was the second round of my senior year, and it was at their house. Their fans brought great energy. Like Coach said, Coach Lalo Rios was I think he had them ready. He had them prepared. Running a bunch of. It felt like it was a bunch of flex offenses because we were just running and running and running. Coming off screens and it was a fast group. A very determined group. I felt the youth in there because they were just very active and just overall good players. didn't really hear much talking during the game. Just both teams going at it hard, and I thought it was a good matchup for us. You know, it was a good one.
Yeah. And let's talk more about you guys there. That year, 13-14, I remember it very well coming in. That was my first year at the Valley Morning Star coming back, you know. So I remember that team, and they told me this was the team. This was going to be the team to watch. Chat me up about that year. It was a very good district. It seems like that district always is, but I remember that year there was a lot of good teams in contention, and even, you know, some of the other teams that weren't in playoff contention had really good players as well. So it just seemed like it was a very talented bunch in that district, not only, you know, in Harlingen, but in the district as a whole. Just what do you guys remember from that season and, you know, the grind of the long district season?
What, Angel?
It was just a predetermined long journey, you know, for us, or for me at least, you know, starting off in the city boys club, you know, making our way to the middle school, and you know, finally getting to that high school and seeing what it's all about. You know, I remember when I first stepped on the court with Coach Mo there at practice with all the upperclassmen, it was nothing but talking, yelling, slapping the floor. And it was, you know, the culture was defense, and sure enough, you know, when I got there, that stuck in my head, and I made that one of the things that I really wanted to perfect in my career. But not only me, my teammates, you know, I would hear Nick Garcia, Daniel Perales, Sean, our whole team knew that the culture was going to be defense, and we had to really work on that. We worked on positioning, and we just let our athletic ability kind of guide us in that way. Coach Mo did a good job of putting us in the right spots, and I just think that the offense took care of itself as soon as our defense was there. So it was a fun year. It was a fun matchup. Played a lot of good squads. We played in a San Antonio tournament that year. So it was really fun. It was really fun getting out there with a lot of my friends that I grew up with my whole life. So I think that's what made it special for me.
You know, like for me, Mark, you know, things just lined up for us the right way. Angel touched base on a lot of things that are correct. I remember watching these kids when they were in middle school. That's one thing about the city of Harlingen that's great. Our boys club program does a great job of. I mean, I could go watch all my future Hawks play at the boys club. They're kind of teamed by what school they go to. So I know which ones my feeder schools are. And I remember watching these kids when they were young. And they were blowing teams out back then. I knew they were going to be a very special group. Then obviously they go into middle school and handle business there. So as a coach, I was drooling. I was waiting for those kids to get here. You know, and I think one thing that Angel touched base on, and I think is very correct about that team that year is, you know, we got a lot of credit for the amount of points we would put up. I mean, we could score. Scoring it's, you know, every once in a while you get those teams where scoring is just easy. I had several players on that team, Angel included, but I had about 4 or 5 guys that just walked around with that it factor. You know, that factor where you know you just can't coach. They just have it. It's hard to explain what it is. I had about 5 guys on that team. It's rare. We usually would like to have one as a coach. I had 5 guys on that team that all wanted the ball in their hands when the game's on the line. You know, but we emphasize defense. It's a culture that we have there at Harlingen South, and I think that's the one factor that, you know, everybody talks about that team, but I think you know, 2 things that can really characterize that team that a lot of people don't know about. Number one, super unselfish. I mean, those guys love to pass the ball. They're a very good passing team. And if you ever watched us play, which you did, you know, it wasn't one guy coming down jacking it up. It was, okay, this guy's got the hot hand. Let's find a way to get it to him. You know, they made me look good as a coach. And then defensively, I had a bunch of stoppers. You know, Angel's not going to tell you this, but Angel's one of the best defenders out there. He's a very humble kid. And I mean, his junior year, he led the state of Texas in steals. And then same team next year, their senior year, Nick Garcia leads the state of Texas in steals. And if you could just hear the conversations, you know, the NBA's mic'd up. If you could hear these guys mic'd up, we call timeout and all they're talking about is defensive goals. We got to stop these guys. We can't let them go. Because Mark, they used to fight me when I give them their matchups, they get mad at me because they all wanted to guard the best player on the court. They all had a personal vendetta. I mean, that regional quarterfinal team, you know, had that at that point guard from Sherryland that signed D1. I mean, Anjel and Nick almost came to blows, and Grant, because they all wanted to guard him. I mean, that they weren't talking about offense. They were talking about, no, coach, I got him. No, coach, I got him. You know, and that's just the type of team that they built. You know, it took me a while, like I told you earlier before we got on live, it took me about 3 or 4 years to finally watch that game. You know, it was really, really hard. When we walked into that locker room, you know, kids were crying their eyes out. You know, it was a very special team, but I like to think, and I saw it in their face, they weren't crying because they lost. They were crying because they were upset. They really felt like we should have won that game. I felt like we should have won that game. They weren't ready for that journey to be over, but that's just the type of kids that I was blessed to coach that year, when these guys were seniors. I mean, they were a lot of fun, off the court as well. They were a tight-knit group. I could never get them out of my office. I mean, you have to understand, they brought in and Angel's probably laughing about this, they brought in an Xbox, hooked it up to my TV in there, and all of a sudden I got to kick them out because they're about to fight. They're playing Madden and they're talking trash to each other. I mean, they're just going at each other. That's the kind of competitive nature we had. Practices were super high intense. Sometimes I just sit back and watch these guys kind of go at each other. You know, they were respectful to each other on and off the court, and you know, they just played hard. They played hard, and they were very unselfish. And you know, I always told them good things happen to good people, and I like to think that they're all good people, and it made for a very exciting year.
For sure. And yeah, everybody does. I do know you guys. I've seen you guys play for a number of years. So like defense has always been a main thing. And I think a lot of people really stress that in basketball. That year was definitely no different. But you mentioned that you guys passed the ball very, very well. And that really opened up things for you guys. I know you guys are really a sharp shooting the 3-point team as well. That's another thing that whenever I think about it, I think of teams like that. I think about, you know, 3-point shot. What kind of trust did you have in these boys to like give them the green light, just to let it fly?
You know, yeah, you know, I always thought of it as simple, Mark. I wanted to get to regional tournament and compete. And I know that we're not going to be able to play the traditional basketball style. Let's pound it in. Let's pass the ball a million times. Let's work it inside to our big men. We don't have big men. I mean, we're kind of, you know, genetic wise, you know, valley wise, we're going to have to bring something to the table that's going to separate us from the other teams. And Angel can vouch for this. I'm very simple when it comes to offense. You know, we're going to run I don't have a ton of sets. We spend a lot of time in transition. We get out and run, and we negotiate, and my negotiation's simple. You guys are getting stops on the defensive end. I'm not going to mess with you on the offensive end. You can go through your transition. We have 1 or 2 secondary breaks, but past that, I'm going to let you be ball players. It's when we're not getting stops on the defensive end is when I'm going to have to pull the reins a little bit, and we'll start, you know, having to run some sets that maybe they might not like, or you know, basically trying to control the game a little bit more. So, I mean, they held up their end of the deal. They really bought into that defensive stuff. They know full well that a lot of our offense came off of defense. I mean, we scored a lot of points in transition. We had a lot of steals. And I tell those guys, every single one of those guys, I had the green light to shoot the 3. And with that said, it's also something that we worked on in practice. It's not like, okay, all y'all could just shoot the 3, but all we're going to work on is defense. And, you know, our athletic period was spent on the 3-point line, them shooting. And trust me, those guys would turn a basic shooting drill into competition because that's the way they were. And there they are talking trash to each other. And Angel starts laughing, but it's true. I mean, Grant and Nick and those guys, I mean, everything with them was a competition, but it was a fun competition. But I think a lot of their confidence came through repetition. We just, you know, we put the ball up a lot in practice and, you know, in our athletic period. And I think it gave them that confidence.
Yeah. Angel, what was it like playing in a system like that where as long as you did your part, you know, coach is going to let you guys go out there and be you? And I mean, definitely you did your part. You had a bunch of steals, led the state, as you said. It leads to a lot of fast break offense, man. Just how was it like playing that kind of a system?
Well, for an offensive player, I think which I don't consider myself, but I mean, offensively, it was funny because when Coach Mo was talking right now, I was thinking of a joke he used to say. He used to tell everybody, "I don't care if you kick the ball in the goal, as long as you give me stops on defense." And so, to a sense, that's what he means. He says, I mean, he's not really tying us down offensively, just as long as we're getting stops. And you know, another 2 things he used to tell us shooters all the time was, good shooters are good screeners, and good shooters always get to the paint. Like their teammates get to the paint for them. Because if we can get to the paint, we can hit the kick, the defense can collapse, and we'll get that wide open three. So, I carry those principles with me. Try to get some stops, of course, transition. I know coaches love transition ball because it's just nothing but layups, nothing but threes. And but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun playing with my buddies. Like I said, everybody loves to get out and run. We had a guy named Grant. He would play the 5 for us, but he would get a rebound and he would just take it coast to coast by himself, just because he can handle the ball like that. So, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun playing with everyone. Everyone was a point guard in a sense, and everyone can handle the ball. So that's what made it a lot more special. I could just sprint to the corner and just be waiting for a shot, because I know Daniel, I know Nick, I know Grant, Sean, they're gonna penetrate and get the ball to me. So a lot of us made each other look good, because I feel like we knew how each other worked. We knew the spacing. We knew how to space. And like I said, just defensively, Coach Mo put us in the right spot, and that would lead to buckets. So that's what I think.
Yeah, a lot of reminiscing about this team. But the final question I want to ask to both of you, just what lasting impression does this year make on you guys? Not only just on that year, but going forward. Maybe you, Angel, like in your life, maybe things that you've taken and cherished from there, and Coach Mo, as far as like your coaching career. Just like I said, question to both of y'all. Just what lasting impression does this year, this team, this run leave on you guys?
Go ahead, Angel.
Honestly, it teaches me to really see the vision and really believe that you want to get there. I know Coach Mo was talking about this kind of year since we made varsity, or since I made varsity at least. He was talking about us making that kind of run, and he would always feed it into our minds. Every time we got in a circle, we said our little prayer or something, and he was always talking regional tournament. He was always talking state tournament. And I think that positivity that he always fed into our minds was something that I think people need to really appreciate. If their coach is doing that to them, or their parents are doing that to them, I think positive mindset, positive words feeds into a mind. And once you get that dream, I think that dream is there for a reason. And I think if you keep chasing it, you keep working at it, I think it comes that much closer. And I feel like we were close. I feel like we were there. We were 3 points away from getting to the next round. But I feel like the life lesson to take out of it is not to settle yourself short, push yourself, dream big, and just always keep that positive mindset. If you don't have that positive mindset, you got to feed it into other people, because that positivity goes a long way. And I know Coach Mo, I'm forever grateful for Coach Mo, his dad, all the coaches I've been with over the years. Even after high school, during college, I've met a bunch of great coaches that feed a lot of positive mindset into my mind. Coach Elias Martinez there at South, Manny Gomez, and even our ADs, nothing but positivity, positive mindset stuff with us. So I think carrying that in life would be the big lesson for me.
About you, Coach?
Yeah, with these guys, it's a special group. Of course, it's hard. I just finished my 14th, 15th year there at South as a head coach. Obviously, this team sticks out because of the run that they went on. They set the standard there, and just the kind of legacy they've left. I mean, the team that came right after them. I lost 11 kids off of Angel's team, and the following year that I only had 2 varsity guys come back, and those guys were both role players on the varsity on Angel's team. But the kind of legacy and role model that they did, that team right after them, which was made of a bunch of JV players, they went 3 deep. And actually, we had a 7-point lead going to the 4th quarter to go to the regional tournament, which it just kind of slipped away from us. I mean, that's the kind of leadership that these guys have. I try to teach life lessons. I mean, through everything that we do, Mark. Just sitting here, just even when you guys reached out to us, and I'm sending text messages to these guys, they've always kept in touch with me. The biggest win I get as a coach is watching them walk across that podium, get that education, and then doing something with their lives, which that team and a lot of my players are doing all the time. Of course, I'll never forget these guys. And it's like Angel said, I mean, we're one possession away from advancing to a San Antonio Judson team where I talked to their coaches, and they weren't looking forward to playing. It was almost a sigh of relief when they found out that we did not win. They saw the Valley support that we got. They knew that full well they were going to come into a packed gym with 95% fans going from Harlingen South. And that's a beautiful thing about playing in the Rio Grande Valley. I mean, I've seen it with the Santa Rosa teams that made the long runs. I've seen it with that Vela year that they made a run. And then the year that we went, I mean, it was jam-packed. And you saw teams, you saw, Vela, you saw Harlingen High, you saw all these people that we played against that year. And all of a sudden, for one night, they became Harlingen South fans. And I think that speaks volume about the community that we're in, and our upbringing. But me as a coach, I'm just blessed to see these guys. Obviously, you heard our conversation. I'm sitting here trying to hire Anjel to hopefully be on my staff right now. I'm blessed. I have 2 guys that played for me in the past that make up my staff. My first assistant played for me my first year there at Harlingen South. So those are all wins as a coach. And, if I could do that and keep these guys coming back and, hearing what Anjel had to say, it makes my job so much worthwhile.
For sure. So, Coach, it was a real pleasure watching that team. It was a real pleasure to seeing all the support. So that's always going to be a memory to not only the people in the community, but people in the media who got a chance to cover it as well. So I just want to say thank you guys, for giving people that memory, and also thank you for coming on for this afternoon. I know you guys have things to do, but thank you for giving me some of y'all's time coming on here today. Appreciate that.
No, thanks for having us, Mark. Appreciate it.
And everybody keep it here, because at 3 o'clock, we're going to have the other team in the bracket, the 15-16 Vela team. We're going to have Coach Lalo Rios and Ryan Garza come on and chat us up just like you saw here. So that's going to be at the 3 o'clock show. But just keep it here overall for content that's coming out from Rio Sports Live. I know we got guys up in Corpus at some practices videoing. Some live sports is still happening here in Corpus. So keep it here. Check that out, guys. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, with the Roku Network and Apple TV for content and replays from games that we already aired. So check that out. And also check out the Boys Basketball Bracket Challenge 2020. It's voting on Facebook and Twitter. So don't forget about that, guys. So keep it here. Just want to thank my guest, Brian Molina, Anjel Gonzales, for being here, guys. And I just want to say have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Have a good one. See you. Bye, Anjel. Love you, man.